JB, we're going to try a first here. 13 weeks into the season, let's try something new. We've done it on the road scenarios. Yep, exactly. We've done it with on the road, and now we're going to actually try it with a legit recorded interview here on our normal studio setup. And it was Coach Fitzgerald's idea. And when Coach Fitzgerald says to do something, we will not deny him in that respect. So we are going to have two Frostburg State players join us. I'm going to let you do the duties here and introduce both of them, and I'll bring them on in.
Yeah, so we got representatives from both sides of the ball for the Frostburg Bobcats, junior quarterback Connor Cox and senior defensive tackle Niles Scott. Welcome, guys. You're in the huddle.
Oh, thank you.
Well, guys, congratulations first off. Big win this weekend and both weekends, honestly. You've taken the country by surprise a little bit, maybe not in your general vicinity, but definitely, let's say, in the broader D3 land. I was listening to the Around the Nation podcast from D3Football.com this morning, and they definitely are not necessarily surprised per se, but just eyes wider open. What has been the reaction over the last couple of weeks as these scores have come in after, let's say, some close calls along the way in the NJAC season that you guys face, including the loss against Wesley, but the win also against Salisbury? Connor, we'll start with you on that. What's the reaction been?
All right. I would say that, in our opinion, we play in one of the best conferences in D3 football. So we know throughout our season we get a bunch of tough games, which prepares us well for when we get to the playoffs. We have a lot of tough games that we have to win in order to make it. Like we went 9-1 last year and we didn't make it. We went 9-1 this year and we did make it. That's like a testament to our conference. So we get a lot of good competition. So, I mean, we came into the playoffs prepared, and we do a lot of good preparation. So, I mean, I felt like we were confident in ourselves. Coach Fitzgerald preaches it to us every single day. We always have the confidence that we can go out there and compete with anybody in the country. So we were pretty excited to make the playoffs.
Sorry about that. Niles, have you felt a little bit like people didn't give the defense the, let's say, accolades they deserve coming into this? And, yeah, maybe the defense has given up some points throughout the playoffs so far, but it's definitely been a bend-don't-break type of attitude. When the key moments have come up, the defense has stepped up big time along the way here. What do you feel about the way the defense has been viewed coming into the playoffs, and what is viewed like now?
I feel like our defense has always been pretty much top notch. We have great defensive coordinators, best coaching staff I've honestly ever been around my whole life. Basically, our game plan every single week and how we go about things and strategizing stuff like that. We've accomplished most of our goals with that and such things. I feel our defense is getting a lot more respect now. Teams are starting to game plan for us a lot more, and we're starting to get the respect that I believe that we deserve. I feel like coming in, our defense was always pretty much viewed as a pretty solid defense, but I think teams kind of took us for granted a little bit. But now I feel like we're getting a lot more respect, and kudos to our coaching staff and everything.
Yeah, now to kind of expand upon that, I mean, it looks like, you guys are only allowing about 13 points a game. You haven't allowed more than 2 touchdowns since basically going back to week 5, other than the playoff game against another top 20 program in Washington Jefferson. You guys are starting to turn the corner and think about Mount Union this weekend. But were there any certain takeaways, and not necessarily what I mean turnovers, but things from watching the game film against Washington and Jefferson that you guys will to kind of work on? And same thing for you, Connor, from the offensive perspective. What are some of the things from the game film that you learned about the game against the Presidents?
We have a lot of small things that we need to fix. Still about 14 to 15 things we need to fix. The good thing about that is they're not really big things and big issues. Most of the time, I think we learned a lot. The game was speed up a lot because of Washington and Jefferson. Their tempo was very fast, but we handled that. We handled that pretty well. It's mostly responding to a lot of sudden change situations and being able to come in and get the ball back to the offense. Things like that is some things we need to work on.
Connor, what about you?
I would say just like making sure as an offense we take advantage of every opportunity that we're given. So, for instance, our defense puts us in a lot of good situations. Like I would say our last game they got 4 turnovers, couple picks that put us in the red zone already to start off drives. Like when we get put in those type of situations, we need to execute with touchdowns. Like last week, we ended up settling for like a field goal when we were on like the 3-yard line. That's something against these top-notch teams that we're about to be playing that we won't be able to afford to do. We need to finish with touchdowns. And I would say that our offense thrives off big plays. And like earlier in the season, towards the middle of the season, like when we put up a whole bunch of points, is when we took advantage of all the big plays. The deep passes connected. We got a bunch of big runs. And I would say for us to continue our success, we need to just keep executing when we get the opportunity to make big plays.
You have a situation, though, with this past weekend with Washington Jefferson, and kind of directed more toward you, where there were some picks thrown, and your team kind of, rallied around the situation, and defense especially helped bring this game back into a scenario where you guys would just keep increasing your lead throughout the game. It didn't really do much damage. Obviously, you don't want to throw them. But obviously, you've got an opponent coming up here in Mount Union that you have to play perfect football against. And kind of take me through what happened last week and how you can resolve that, especially with the game film you've watched with Mount Union thus far.
Yeah, well, a good thing about our coaching staff and our offensive coordinator is that we never really play conservative. We trust our defense, so we're more inclined to go for it on 4th and short. We're more inclined to continue to sling the ball around even if we have a lead. So that's a good thing about our offensive coordinator and our head coach. Like, they're confident in us, and we're confident in the defense. I mean, we obviously never want to put them in a bad situation, but I feel like as an offense, we're confident that we can go out there and execute, I mean, no matter what we're doing. So, I mean, like I said, we trust the defense, too. They have our back.
Niles, you had to find an interesting win in week 1 from the 7-yard line. There was a fake punt called that went 93 yards, but if it had failed, obviously they were really trusting the defense to step up because it would have been automatic red zone for the Wittenberg offense that week. What was going through your head when you saw that play developing?
Honestly, we're the type of guys that always have our coaches back. Whenever it's a close situation, we tell our coach, we're right behind them. Hey, coach, we got your back, whatever you're going to do. So we have trust in our coaching staff and basically trust in our offense and special teams, whatever the play may be for that particular situation. So whatever it is, we're always ready for sudden change. We do sudden change all the time in practice. We're ready for quick changes of field possession and just be able to get back on the field and get the offense back our ball. We have trust in everyone on our staff, honestly.
That's some mighty trust there, JB, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And that's week 1 of the playoffs, meaning week 12 or 11, whatever, week 13.
12,
you guys are playing,
13 now.
You guys are playing December football, and that's a great opportunity. Niles, the Raiders' offensive line isn't necessarily always the biggest guys, but they have outstanding technique and speed. From some of the initial looks that you got at the film, obviously their quarterback is highly accurate. They've got a lot of speed at receivers. What kinds of things do you think you guys are going to do defensively to try to slow them down? Or is it really just, you can't necessarily slow down this team. You just got to pick your shots and make some plays when you can get them?
Honestly, we haven't finished our game planning and things like that so far. But I believe we're going to have a pretty good game plan. We have trust in our defensive coordinator. So we'll wait and see. Wait for you guys to see about that.
I think they're hiding the answer right there, JB. I don't know. Coach probably said, don't give away the secrets. Vince Karras is watching and listening. But, guys, coming through the season, we became believers ourselves. And there were points in the season, though, I think I admitted this maybe even after the interview with Coach Fitzgerald, that I was grudgingly putting you guys high up on my ballot into the top 15 zone early on before the Wesley game, and even after the Wesley game, because it was a virtual tie. I didn't move you guys much, but I always wondered, why am I voting for Frostburg State so high? Where did they come from? I mean, what is this going on here? And then we do this interview with Coach Fitzgerald, and I think for James and I both, it was like the elevator speech of elevator speeches, because I was ready to put pads on at the age of 41 by the end of that discussion with him. Take us through why you love playing for this guy. I think, Niles, you said it was the best coaching staff you've been around in your entire football career, obviously high school and beyond that, or below that. You've had a lot of coaches throughout your time. Both you guys on offense and defense, I want to hear the perspective of what makes Coach Fitzgerald and the staff so special. We'll start with Connor here.
Coach Fitzgerald preaches to us every single day. We have a team meeting every day at the same time. We go through the same routine. No matter who we're playing, what we're doing, we're always doing the same things, staying on the same track. Because honestly, what we've been doing for the past 2 years have been working in our favor pretty well. Coach gives us a motivational speech every day. He's always sending us motivational emails. I would say he has us all at the peak of our confidence, which allows us to play at our best ability. And he also makes a strong effort to allow us to realize how well our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and position coach, like how well they used to play and how much they know about the game and how much like beneficial they are to us. And while he does that, he just, like I said, brings out the most confidence in us, which allows us to just on Saturdays go out there and play.
Niles, why is he the best, or why is his staff the best?
For me, it's because I think Coach Fitz he's a player's coach. He's a great guy, and honestly, I would do anything for him. I'd run through a wall for that guy. It's just the way he coaches is so hard, and he doesn't expect anything but our best every single day. He asks for us to focus a certain amount of time each and every day and give our best effort. He preaches about getting 2% better every single day, and 2% takes honestly everything you have, and it's just him believing in us, and just the way he handles things is just great. It's honestly.
I got a little secret. James had to actually repair one of his walls in his house after the interview because he actually ran through one after that interview, I believe.
Yeah, I definitely felt it, man. Coach Fitzgerald got me fired up. So both of you guys are from the state of Maryland. You played your high school football there. You're playing your college football there. Connor, you got one more year after this one. Niles, you're a senior. And I understand, there have been some pro scouts around campus talking to you, or at least looking at you. Since I know Ali Marpet personally, I've been around some professional football players. You look like a pro football player to me from just sitting there. Yeah. So is that kind of the plan and the dream of what you want to do after graduation? What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, it's all in God's will. Whatever way He directs me. But we're gonna just focus each game every single week. Just focus on what we have to do right now, what's on our plate right now, and then we'll worry about that stuff later.
I'm just scared that you two are going to form a in the huddle competitor, because you guys are really good at this right now. You're great presence on the camera. You're talking really well, answering all the questions.
Frank, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to take the week off. Why don't you guys co-host next week? Regardless of what happens in the Mount Union game. But Connor, you got another year to come here. But obviously, it's going to be tough to lose these seniors like Niles on defense and the guys on the offense that you lose along the way. Tell us about what the senior class means to you as a junior.
The senior class is huge. Fitch tells us all the time. I mean, most recently he started telling us, but they're the most winningest senior class ever officially now. After I think it was last week or the week before. So I mean, they know what it takes to win. They came from a 1-9 program, and now look where they are today. It's incredible. And it sucks for Niles and a bunch of the other seniors to leave, but everyone that's underneath of them get to look up to him every single day. So, I mean, he's a good role model, and all the seniors are good role models for everyone underneath of them. So I think they're, setting a very good example for the standards that we expect out of our players on and off the field.
Niles, you got to be proud to hear that, aren't you?
Yeah, he's not too bad himself, honestly. He's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, I think Coach Fitz had 23 guys. That's definitely a big class, and from 1-9 to back-to-back 9-1 seasons, now 11-1, hopefully soon to be 12-1. We'll see.
That's right.
Connor, Niles, this is the time of the show where you guys have been great. We want to turn it over for some shout outs to any friends, family, some Bobcats, alumni, whoever is out there that's going to be watching this. So the floor is yours, Connor and Niles.
Go ahead, Connor.
Shout outs. I'll obviously shout out my family, my parents, and my sisters. Other than that, the only people I really want to shout out is our own team and our coaching staff, because that's what we go out there and do it for every single week. So I'm sure you have some people.
Yeah, I would shout out my parents, all my family back home in Virginia. That's where I'm originally from. Shout out to Elton, my hometown. I shout out to all the players on this staff, honestly, especially the defensive players, man. I love the dark side, so shout out to all them.
Are you sure that's it now? Because you're a senior, you may not get this chance again, at least on our show. You might on some professional show later on, but at least on our show. Anybody else you can think of?
No, that's everything.
Okay. Well, you know, when you come on the show, you're kind of on the dark side. Don't worry about that. So thanks for joining us, guys, on the dark side here on In the Huddle. But we want to wish you luck against Mount Union. Technically, we are an East Region show, and though we do branch out during the playoffs, we kind of have to root for you on this one. Against protocol to a certain degree, but
sorry, Lenny.
Lenny Reich, our friend, the SID up at Mount Union, is an avid viewer and contributor at times, but we have to say what we have to say here, and that is go Frostburg State in this game. We can't root against or root for anybody in the Brockport-Del Val game, but we would love to have 2 participants in the semifinals. This is something that has not happened in my entire time, which is, we're talking 1990, 5 was my first year doing Union College football games. I don't believe we've ever had 2 participants in the national semifinals in those 22 years that I've been broadcasting. This would be historic after hearing for years how weak the East is. Here's our chance, guys. Good luck to you.
Thank you guys
very much for having us.
Yeah.
And JB, we're going to have some more guests throughout the week. We're also going to have a Del Val player join us at some point this week, so people will want to tune in. We've got, obviously, our host chat segment and our coach interview with Coach Mangoni from Sunday, which has been a phenomenal success. Thanks to everybody at Brockport for sharing that one. So until later on, we'll also have some lightning predictions coming up toward the end of the week. You'll want to stay tuned for all 3 of those, I guess, technically. But we'll be back. Thanks for joining us.